Hello, my name's Scott. I'm a professional magician and this is a magic review.
It's a kind of magic.
In today's review, we're looking at Principles of Destruction by Ben Seidman. This is a book, of course, this is my first book review. It's produced by Vanishing Inc. And I would like to say a big thank you to Vanishing Inc. for providing me with a review copy. I've had this for about a month before release. And I would also like to remind you, just because Vanishing Inc. or any magic company may provide me with a review copy of a trick, a prop, or a book, it does not mean I'm obliged to say anything nice. And there are never any agreements of what I should and shouldn't say. All of my reviews are my honest thoughts. And my TLDR on The Principles of Destruction by Ben Seidman is that I think the book is really good. We'll go into more detail in the review for what the book is about, but there are so many little tips and hints and things that I think are transferable from this book and from the things that it teaches you into other magic tricks, other routines, and other presentations that you can take and put into other things. So I think that the routine that Ben has created is quite good. But I think the real value in this is the fact that everything inside is quite valuable in the methodology and the understanding of putting a magic routine together. And it's also left me with two final points. Hello, Sarah, who will never read this book, and also, who the is Steve? But that's my TLDR on The Principles of Destruction by Ben Seidman and Vanishing Inc. I do recommend the book. It's really interesting. And at $50 or roughly £39, I believe the ebook, if you're not interested in the physical book, is £29. I think that it provides a good amount of value. And the likelihood is that you're going to get some things from reading it. But what is it? What is Principles of Destruction? It sounds so colorful. It sounds so amazing. Who wouldn't want to destroy people's minds with principles of magic? And I will be honest, Vanishing Inc. have put out a video of Ben performing this whole routine that's taught inside this book, and that can do a much better job of explaining what you're receiving here than I can do with words. So I'm going to link that in the video description and also in the top pinned comment. But to briefly summarize, what you're learning is a whole entire routine, roughly 10 minutes, 15 minutes. If you really wanted to milk it, you could probably get almost 20 minutes out of this if you added some more presentation to it. But you're getting a few things here. A method of a rising card, a thought of card under seat, a vanishing card from a packet of cards, and then also the reappearance of a card in a spectator's pocket from the audience. In short, those are the few things that you're going to learn in this, and it's all structured, it's all presented in one whole routine that you can perform if you wish. But as I say, I would recommend just going to watch that video from Vanishing Inc. and then come back to this review. Hopefully that's covered what the Principles of Destruction book by Ben Seidman is. And now we'll go through a little bit of the table of contents to show you basically everything that you get. You will be seeing this up on screen now. We have the foreword, the preface, the effect, construction, requirements and setup. Under the requirements and setup, you have the rising card requirements, the under the seat requirements, a little bit of pre-show, which is particularly interesting, the performance of phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, the blow-off, which is an interesting choice of words, and then closing thoughts by Ben. With what I mentioned in the what is it section and the TLDR, that should give you a good idea of what you're going to get in this book. And also, it's important to point out that yes, this is a small-ish book. It will just take you 1 or 2 hours to read it, depending on your reading speed. But everything in here is kind of thought-provoking and really interesting. But how easy is it to perform this routine that's taught in Principles of Destruction? There are some arts and crafts, and Ben does give you some alternatives if you don't want to go to the full extent of creating all of the bits and pieces required to perform in the optimum way that Ben recommends and teaches in the book. But I think this is quite a challenging routine to perform. Each phase has its challenges as well. I would recommend this as quite a challenge for a beginner magician. It would be something that I think would be a little bit challenging for an intermediate magician, and a professional or someone who is performing all of the time, I think would probably gain quite a lot from this book. That higher skill level and experience wouldn't find it as challenging to do. So think about yourself, think about your experience in magic, and see where you sit in those 3 categories to figure out if perhaps this is a little bit too easy, just right, or too difficult for you. And now I'd like to touch on the readability of the book. It's very good. The book itself has a nice font, it has a nice font size, everything is spaced out really nicely. The images and the drawings that describe everything are quite easy to follow, and I don't think anything comes over too convoluted in this. It's fairly straightforward, especially when Vanishing Ink will also provide the video of the full performance of this in your Vanishing Ink account, which definitely helps if you did struggle with any of the reading. But I think in terms of readability, this book is very easy to read, it's very nice to read, and because it's quite short at just a couple of hours of reading, I think that just adds to the fact that it's a joy to read, and it's one of those books that you might come back to quite regularly to inspire yourself to think about other routines and constructing magic. Now we're almost done talking about Principles of Destruction. Before we get to the final thoughts, I would like to talk about the quality of the book. I'm going to put some close-ups on the screen right now of the book. It's just a standard hardback book. I have another book that Vanishing Ink also sent me at the same time as this. So again, I've had it about a month, and the book quality of this one that I will review soon is much higher. This is okay. It's a standard, smooth, finished hardcover book, and there's nothing particularly special about it. It's a standard book in terms of quality, and I don't think anything that's really going to stand out to you on your magic bookshelf or that you would gush over if you're a book lover. And now my final thoughts. At first, I wasn't a fan of this. I watched the video performance of Ben, and if I'm honest, I still don't particularly like Ben's performance. And I don't think it shows Ben's skills and Ben's talent as a magician in the best light. There's lots of repeated words. He keeps saying it gets crazier, it's crazy, right? It's crazy. And I think lots of the routining for me doesn't appeal. So initially I found this a little bit difficult to get into, but the more I looked at it and the more I thought about it, and as I say, I've had this about a month, so I've been really ruminating about the ideas in here, the more I've liked it and the more I've taken from it. Like I said earlier in the review, this might be something that you come back to often, and that inspires you to create things in certain ways and use the skills and the techniques and the methods in this and try to translate them to other routines. Another thing to point out is that the routine here can work either in a close-up performance. If you have a table like this and a couple of chairs, it can work in that scenario. It can also work in stand-up parlor, and I think it can also work in a stage show, as long as the stage and auditorium are not massive. So the routine has a lot of versatility in what it offers you as a performing magician. And another thing to point out is that if you're a fan of Ben, reading through this has lots of little jokes, and it has lots of little nuggets of Ben's personality. So if you're a fan of him, I think just for that reason you'll enjoy reading it. There's so many pauses for funny moments and to breathe and then to take a break from the intense learning of everything. And also this book will serve as evidence should Ben ever be in court for murder, which if you buy the book, you will find out what I'm talking about. I don't want to spoil too much about that, but Ben might have killed a few of his audience members. Shh. So there is that as well that may come in useful in the future. Something that I thought perhaps I should also mention is that excluding live performances, you do not have any rights to perform any of the content in this book on television or any kind of broadcast media. So let me read this out for you. This is at the very beginning of the book. It says, broadcast performance rights for the material within, including but not limited to internet, television, video, or by any other medium known or to be invented, as well as conflicting live performance rights, are reserved by the author. These restrictions include any kind of future media, excluding live performances. Only written consent from the author authorizes permission for any broadcast performance of the material within, excluding live performances. So I think that's really important as well to know that there is a declaration at the beginning that excluding live performances, you will need to write to Ben for permission if you're going to perform any of the contents on any kind of broadcast media, on any platform, on any medium, whether that be now or future mediums. Just an important point I wanted to add post-review. I think I'll wrap this up for now. Thank you to Vanishing Ink for providing this review copy. It's a really nice book. With the knowledge that I have about this book now, I have no hesitation in recommending this book for £39. It's pretty good, it's fun, and it's inspiring. If you have any questions about this, leave it in a comment below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.